Welcome to the Intercycle Astrology channel. Today we've got Mile De Carteret, a mathematician who will be sharing some of his knowledge around the interrelationship between music, astrology, and geometry. So if you're looking to expand and connect your astrological knowledge to broaden a more holistic view of your applications of astrology, then I'm sure you're in for a treat today. Miles is a seriously talented musician from Daylesford, Victoria, which is located in the southeastern corner of Australia. And he is also a music teacher and runs a really awesome, unique school called the Aquarian Music Method, which combines music with astrology, geometry, maths, and colour. So welcome to the show, Miles.
Thanks for having me, Shu.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really pumped for today. Your skills just are really exciting. It's really exciting to see you combine like all these different modalities together. It really brings me back to, the days of old, the days of the polymaths, which we don't have anymore, but, you're certainly one in the making there, which is lovely
I'm
to.
back.
So I guess in Australia, we've just had the beautiful equinox in Aries, and I just wanted to firstly thank you for this beautiful sound bath that you organised for the community with Bridie from Flow State Yoga, Yogini Extraordinaire. Just to let people know, Miles organised, really spoilt us with this amazing sound bath of your music, the singing, the vocals, choirs. You know, the crystal bowls from, I can't remember what that lady's name was that did the singing.
Valley, yeah, Valley, Maine. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And Bridie's amazing flow yoga and the massages. So that's how we brought in the new year.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. So thank you so much.
The touch, movement, and sound. Yeah.
Yeah,
Three ways to move energy.
it was amazing. So, yeah, I mean, other than creating sort of beautiful musical journeys and sound bars and things, so tell us a little bit about your musical influences and your styles, or maybe some projects that you've been up to over the last period of time.
Yeah. Well, last year I spent the last summer just spent moving all around Australia playing with a project called the Moontide Ensemble, which I got to be basically just a live instrumentalist for. It's mainly like my friend Louis' DJ project that he's now expanded to have live instruments on top. So yeah, it's been amazing to just spend the summer traveling and playing a few festivals. Just got back from New Zealand. And yeah, that's the other half of what I do is the playing, but like so much
Yeah,
what I've spent the last maybe 7 years doing is just really going deep into understanding what's the core of this love, like of sound and frequency, and why does it move us like this, and what's actually happening when we're enjoying music and we're all moving together and yeah.
yeah, yes. Like a true Virgo moon, that you have, you're really breaking down the mechanics of music and
Yeah, yeah,
defining it all at a very deep and intricate
yeah,
level.
yeah, and it's really shaped how I view reality as well. Yeah, just everything coming back to sound and rhythm and vibration and how I harmonize with my external reality and internal. um
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because I've had experiences as well, and when I'm at festivals and maybe I might be on psychedelic trips or whatever, where I can actually see the music, or I can
yes.
see the music in terms of their planetary influences, like, oh, that sounds very Neptune, Venus, or this sounds very Mercury, Saturn, or
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, like I haven't been able to
yeah,
go any further with this, but that's why I'm excited to chat to you, because you have
yeah.
gone further, and it's really spectacular, your body of work. So, and how did you get into music? Like, how has it come into your life?
Such a young age. Yeah, my mother was always yeah, singing and playing piano around the house. So that was just something that came so naturally, and there was like a deep affinity with, yeah, the key that we had a piano and an old piano in my house, and that just I don't know, it was the memorizing. It was like this way of learning that was much more visceral, and like in the feeling. Like I kind of, in school, I was less inclined to like put my all into English, and but I found, that in like visual learning and learning with numbers, that that was something that came really easily to me. So I think, it's a way of I guess embodied learning is
Yeah, the best way, isn't it?
yeah.
And and did you have any formal music education, or was it all self-taught?
Yeah, I did. It was actually, funnily enough, I think it's part of everyone's story. Like, I've heard it a lot, is like when they're, grade 5, and I went to this really, really strict teacher, and yeah, she just put this like piece of paper in front of my face, and like I could play things by ear already. I was learning all the demo keyboard songs by ear, and yeah, she put a piece of paper with a note on it in front of me and said, like, this is this, and this is a letter. And my brain just kind of couldn't digest it. And she told me to never come back.
Oh God, she'll be eating her words now.
Yeah, it took me 7 years, like 7 years after that to like, I guess try another teacher, try another avenue. And luckily I found a really amazing guitar teacher, or actually I had a really amazing music teacher at my primary school that kind of saw that I was gravitating towards this thing, and encouraged that and supported that. And yeah, my parents
Wow.
along that journey.
That sounds like a very Saturnian story, that very Saturn teacher that put the
Yeah,
block up, and then it took you 7 years, the quarter turn of the Saturn cycle, to
yeah,
then
exactly.
rediscover it. My
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah,
Wow.
definitely.
Well, I'm sure glad that you ended up persisting with that, because, well, really, it's your life, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
you have a
yeah,
school now that's
yeah.
obviously based on more holistic ways of teaching.
Yeah. And yeah, you got to get those life experiences early on, so like, how can I prevent that from happening to anyone else? Because so yeah, the worst thing you can do to anyone is to discourage their self-expression, their natural expression, like that just
Totally.
kill any plant or human.
Yeah, totally. So true. And so then, you've got that musical side, and it was, a fluidly forming kind of education process. But when and how did you build that interest in combining music with the astrology, the geometry, the color, and the maths?
It was when I moved away from Melbourne, when I stopped trying to be and when I stopped trying to be this like really productive musical artist. Like, I think I released something a while ago and it didn't feel true to who I was, and I didn't quite know who I was. So I left the city and the world of distortions to come to get in touch with nature. And in that time of like taking the pressure off producing anything and needing to share anything, that was when I was able to go really deep into the research and into the passion behind my connection to music, and realized that I actually devoted a lot of my time then to teaching others. I was teaching about 40, 50 kids a week at a high school.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
they all had different influences and interests and genres they wanted to play, and styles, and I wanted to find over like maybe a 8 year period, what was the one thing I could teach them all? What's the universal framework that I can share with them all, so they can go off and use this theory as a foundation for their education, and enable them to feel free to improvise and to yeah, just to get a strong grasp of musical concepts without even needing to learn to read necessarily, because that can be a blockage for a lot of kids initially.
Mm.
If they had that drive, then sure, I would take them there. But
Yeah, wow, that sounds amazing.
so
I mean, like having to find that bridge, I guess, between different instruments, different skill levels,
yeah,
different interests. I mean, that seems like a pretty hard task. But so how
yeah.
did you approach that? Like what
Um,
was that bridge?
the bridge was yeah, seeing it, it as a circle instead of some linear thing. Well, a spiral, but yeah, basically a 12-pointed um, polygon, so a dodecagon, like, or I guess another way of saying that would be to see it as, yeah, music as a clock. So seeing the 12 semitones in music as the 12 points of a clock. And
Hmm.
when I see it as a circle, it it provided a base for all of the other information to be understood. It was like the center point to which all the other understandings could be extrapolated
Yeah,
from.
right. I'm wondering whether I should just show people what this circle looks like
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
okay. Can you see the circle on your screen now?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So is that what you're talking about there? Like
Yeah,
seeing
that's,
music as a
yeah,
circle?
seeing the 12 notes as the 12 points of a circle, or the 12 hours of a clock. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and um and from that understanding, yeah, you can, yeah, you can learn um quite easily like what a key is. But that would be another layer on top of that.
Yeah, right. So this is the foundation, and then you kind of go into like integrating astrological aspects into this. Is that the next step? The
Yeah,
um
yeah. I guess when I would be teaching, it's I would I wouldn't straight away go into the aspects with my students.
right, okay.
I would keep it pretty strictly musical, but I would also hint at, the connection to astrology as well. And
Hmm.
what we can see on the screen as well is the connection to the 12-tone color palette. Uh,
Right.
so, which is um, another way of taking in that same information through
Yep.
the eyes.
And so do the colors represent anything? Like are there certain colors that are more harmonious with other colors and things like that?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. In in the 12-tone color palette, yeah, the primaries would be on in the trine position. So like they would be they would form a triangle, and
Hmm.
the colors that are opposite one another would be the inverse color. Um, this particular diagram is these colors are the exact frequencies of the notes.
Hmm.
Um, it's not exactly a 12-tone color palette, but it's more connected to the actual vibrations of those notes themselves.
So the sound that you actually hear, the actual tone
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
note.
the tone, and then taking those tones up 40 or yeah, around 40 octaves until that vibration becomes so fast we can see it with our eyes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
As in you see it as a color, or how do
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
You see it.
amazing. And that's the actual color that you would see for, say, an A, you'd see red.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
wow.
Yeah. So the
And how do you actually do this? Like, can you? I want to see
that's
it.
yeah, well, that's like you take that note A, which might be 108 hertz or 216, like that's Pythagorean tuning. And then you would go up another octave, which you just double the frequency, so 432 hertz, and you double that again, 864 hertz, and you double it. If you doubled it 10 times, that would be the range of our hearing approximately.
Hmm.
But if you double it another 30 times after that, yeah, that's when it finally hits a very thin band that we perceive as visible light.
Wow. Yeah, that's like the edge of the sound vision barrier.
Yeah, and the numbers get really stupidly high. But yeah, I just wanted to know what are those colors, because we should be using them when we're learning music, because that's another way of taking in that same information to accelerate our learning.
And do you know whether the frequencies of these notes at the visible level have a resonance with the type of effect that the color has, like based on color therapy fundamentals, like red being sort of active,
Mm,
anger, or
mm,
like is
mm.
that a thing or something yet to be
I
explored?
That's the holistic way, right? It does definitely connect to everything. So I think the main um, part of it is like we've got these frameworks that then we get to choose what and have a deeper understanding of the correlations of these notes, and then we can put that intention into the frequency that we're playing.
Yeah,
That's what's
nice.
felt. It's not
Yeah, yeah.
anything other than that intention.
Yeah,
Uh,
or I'm thinking also someone loves to sing in a particular key, like say
yes.
singing in C all the time as their
Yeah.
natural key. It's like, well, what does that say? That color
Well,
obviously
yeah.
resonates with them.
And C is like the one note in that circle that it breaks down to 1 hertz, so 1 cycle a second, one
Mm-hmm.
vibrational cycle a second. So C, and it's the color green. So I always think of it as the heart, because it's
Mm.
oneness, and it's the center point of this rainbow that you see. It starts at G and ends at F sharp, and you know the C is the center of that system.
Mm-hmm. And as a pianist, it's just the easiest. There's no black notes.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why I like it.
And that's definitely why we hang around the key of C major.
Yeah, yeah, that's all righty. So, you talk about, you know, aspects being the interrelationship between two planets, and intervals being the interrelationship between two notes. And do you want to go through some of the slides now,
I'd love to.
around?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let's see, trying to get to the beginning. All right, so let's start with the conjunction. So what Miles is going to go through are all the 5 Ptolemaic aspects and how that relates to musical intervals.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
yeah, so the first one would be the conjunction, which is yeah, it's two planets in the same sign, within a particular degree, or in music it would be two instruments playing the same note. And yeah, I call it like an alchemical framework, because it shows you the way the energy syncs, the way the energy works. So if you have two notes, two of the same note on, two violins, the first violin will be playing that note, and the second violin plays, and all of a sudden those frequencies lock into phase, and the volume is amplified, the volume of that one note. So yeah, the overlap between that the major aspects of astrology and um, why we can kind of see why those powers are blending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like a conjunction when two planets are together, like it just is,
Yeah,
like these two planets that come together, they just blend. There's no awareness around it. They just are.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so it sounds like when two notes are playing in unison, it just is what it is. And
yeah,
there's a strong power behind them.
yeah,
Um, and it's so simple that power is almost a concept of not being aware of one's power.
yeah,
But it
yeah,
just is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's not divided at all. It's just one. And then I guess in music you could understand that as zero notes of separation or 0 degrees. But you can also understand it as an octave if you were to go 12 notes apart.
Yeah.
And yeah, in musical terms, the smaller the ratio value of an interval, so a unison would be 1 to 1. The smaller those numbers are, the more consonant and the more harmonious the vibration, and the more often they're locking into phase. And an octave would be 2 to 1. So they're the most harmonious aspects we have.
Yeah, right. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Nice. Okay. And all right, let's move on to the next one, which is the opposition in astrological terms.
And yeah, in musical terms, so we're thinking of that circle or the wheel as one octave, which is 12 semitones. So an opposition is half an octave between the notes. So this is 6 semitones, and yeah, in music we call it a tritone. And yeah, it's amazing because you can actually feel the tension between. This is one of the most dissonant intervals you have in music.
Guitar let's do it.
You can hear it. I might just put my headphones in. So yeah, so this is the polarity basically within the octave, and within the color spectrum, it's the inverse color. So it would be red to green, or So
okay.
There's your octave, by the way.
Right.
That's just nice and
calming.
But then, as soon as you get
you can feel that tritone, hear that tension.
It's unresolved, and it wants to resolve to.
Yes, it wants to go up.
Yeah. So all of this geometry because when I came to astrology, I came from a musical background and I was learning about aspects, and the first thing I saw was just the direct overlap with music. So the fact that all these aspects, like 180 degrees, it is tension when you play that.
Yes, you can't. It's like you can't really end the song on that.
No. In fact, you would get beheaded. If you use that aspect, it was called the devil's note.
Oh right.
Back in the day,
oh wow.
You weren't allowed to use that interval.
Is that right?
Yeah, in the classical era.
Oh well, I just found out that Franz Schubert, who was a classical composer, but he was born with Pluto in Aquarius, which is happening today. Pluto in Aquarius. And apparently he was the composer that really brought in all these different intervals into his work, like probably introduced the tritone or wow. Like just weird chords and things like that. He was known for his innovations. So that kind of brought on the whole rise of modern classical, post-classical modern sort of music. So I could totally see him rocking the tritone.
I bet. Yeah.
Awesome. And then that has a Saturnian nature.
Exactly.
Yeah. And in the Thema Mundi, which is the chart of the world, Saturn does rule the opposite sign of Cancer in Capricorn. So that kind of fits the whole world chart Thema Mundi concept too. So
right. Yeah. And I is that similar to, if Leo rules if the sun rules Leo and the moon rules Cancer. Saturn is directly opposite.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. So the Thema Mundi has the ascendant sign of Cancer. And I noticed, when I looked at your slides, they all
Mm.
align with the theme of Mundi. Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another sort of layer of connection there too.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. So nice. All right. Shall we move on
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the
Let's go to
next
the
one?
next. So the most beautiful one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Trine.
the trine. Yeah. The octave divided into three.
Mm-hmm.
So when we divide 12 by 3, we get 4. So there's 4 notes in between each point. Um, so yeah, on the guitar, you just play like the open string and then the 4th fret. And that's when you
Okay.
hear those. And a better way of doing it would be.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah,
It's very melodic.
it's harmonizing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it definitely sounds like Jupiter.
Yeah, there's an
Um,
ease to it. Like it's easy to
yeah.
listen to. You don't have to
Yeah.
go, oh, like it doesn't feel like a bit off.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, major's happy. And mine is sad. That's the really
that's the next
um
one.
yeah, I feel like the yin and the yang are within this is the unison and the opposition, and then the trine and the square aspects. They're like I do see, especially the trine and the square, they're really important in music, as they're building blocks for chords.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And then the next one. So this is the minor. This is the
Yeah.
Mars ruled minor
Yep.
third.
Yep. So yeah, minor chord. So instead of that major, now we've got this.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
there's
I don't
much more
mind a
tension.
minor chord,
I love a minor chord. Yeah. It's but it's even when we stack these chords, we get we stack these intervals, we get different different feelings. Like it doesn't resolve.
Yes.
And it's only with those, with the trine and the square, when we actually use them together, like we might have, for example, a minor chord consists of a square aspect at the beginning of the chord, and then at the higher part of the chord is actually a trine. And that creates the balance within the chord.
Yes, it does.
And with a major chord, which are 3 notes, it starts with the trine, and then on top we have the square.
Oh, is that
So,
right?
yeah.
The inverse.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
realized that.
And
Oh,
that's
that's
the kind of thing
fascinating.
that's the kind of chord you would hear like on a plane, where please put in your seatbelts now. Like they're trying to calm you down.
That's right. Your flight is delayed.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so interesting about the inverse, of the major and minor chords. I'd never realized that.
They're mirrors of one another. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
are. This is so fascinating. But yeah, that minor sound, it does sound like the sadness and grief. Yeah, but it's so beautiful, and there's something deep about it. Like
There is. Yeah.
yeah, like I always talk about the difference between Apollo and Dionysus. The concept of the Apollonian nature. We're striving for the greater good, the ideal, like all the light. The spirit. Whereas the Dionysian, the dark, deep, heavy, but so much creativity within that. God of the wine. So to me, that's that major minor.
And definitely, and so much of what we suppress is that sad stuff. So that's why music can pull it out of us.
Yeah, what a great way to deal with the shadows. Just put on a minor key, tune, a bit of Jeff Buckley or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how I spent my first breakups. That's how I got through them.
Yeah, yeah, just play it out, you know. Oh,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, thank,
So
yeah.
yeah. So seeing yeah. So every between each node is just each semitone is just 30-degree interval. Um,
Ah, okay.
so yeah, we've got three here, so it's 90 degrees between them.
Yeah, right.
And
Yep.
I just want to go back to that, even just the trine, um, because yeah, it's like we can actually hear how two elements harmonize together. That's
Mm,
that's that's a big part of what's happening there, and whereas with the minor third, we're hearing someone that wants to go north and someone that wants to go east at the
right.
same time.
Yes, yep, yep.
We're hearing those like cardinal energies, or the way those modes of action. We're hearing the tension between that, like two catalytic forces,
Yes.
the start of two seasons at the same time, which never happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Yes. Okay.
yeah,
Oh, I love that. So yeah,
yeah,
bringing the environment into it too. Like that's what you mean by bringing the nature in, or like that
yeah.
sounds like even like a birth of the pains of a birth, of a
Mm-hmm.
child or of an animal, like breaking through from the world of spirit to the world of matter, and the
Yes.
tension that it causes, and the
Yeah.
disruption and the pain
Yeah.
is heard in that
Yeah.
minor third.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, and even the semitone, just next door, like
Mm,
that
yeah,
tension
right.
is also really rough.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
um, so that would be like, you could call that Aries and Taurus together. Um,
Yeah,
just
signs in aversion, which is signs
yeah,
that are adjacent to each other or not
yeah,
making an aspect 150 degrees, which is
yeah,
in modern terms the quincunx aspects, but in traditional astrology
yes,
that was never, yeah, that, and they were often
yeah,
signs where there was no common ground.
yes,
Um,
yeah,
and it induces this feeling of panic or fear
yeah,
and fret.
yeah.
Um,
Like when you're
so
just trying to find something in in common to talk about.
yes, exactly, exactly. Not even about the weather.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
wow, that's amazing.
yeah,
Okay, let's move on to the
yeah,
sextile now. This is the
yeah,
Venusian, so I'm assuming this is
yeah,
going to sound good.
yeah. So this is, yeah, this is in music. It's not. I mean, it's the beginning of, say, like a scale.
Ah, right.
Da-na-na. But
Yep.
together, it's it's neutral. They
Yeah,
don't
right.
particularly form a sharp dissonance. In
Yep.
fact, I love that interval for its closeness.
Yeah.
Um, and how would you put that in a chord? Um, yeah, you often hear it as like a ninth, like
Ah, yeah, right.
um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's quite a pleasant color.
it
And yeah,
is.
they yeah, in music, in astrology, they share the same polarity. So
Yep.
that, yeah, just
Yep.
two signs apart.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and
Okay, and that, yeah, it kind of sounds um yeah, like there is a lightness to it
yeah,
almost. Like, yeah, what you said, friendly, like that. It does sound friendly, like that last
yeah,
chord.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's so yeah, just that's that was kind of my intro to astrology, and realizing, okay, there's a lot here that it can, a lot of depth that it can give to music, especially bringing in geometry into the equation, with how we perceive intervals in music.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, that certainly, it was so helpful for you to walk me through that because I did look at these charts before, but clearly, yeah, not at the depth that you've described them to me now, which, yeah, makes so much more sense. Like, it's incredible how you really have had this ability to break down these concepts and bridge them like that. That's
Mm.
such an amazing body of work there. So thank you so much
Thank you.
for bringing us through that. I just wanted to here, let me just pull up my I'll just stop the share for a second.
Yep.
Like, I just wanted to ask you, just in terms of these, say, intervals or aspects or same thing,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and the effects and influences they have on the body.
Mm.
Um, I'm interested to know more about the therapeutic use of
Mm.
music. Like now
Mm-hmm.
knowing this, like, do you
Mm-hmm.
primarily like use aspects and intervals to bring out
Mm.
an effect, like knowing the feelings that say a conjunction or a square
Mm-hmm.
does, or
Mm-hmm.
are there any other
Yeah.
tools that kind of come into
Yeah.
play?
Well, especially you know, in like sound kind of journey, sound healing world. I think that yeah, there's a lot to be said for reflecting the tension and the pushing and pulling of the planets down on this in this on this plane.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, big. I've done a few sound baths where yeah, we look at the astrological weather and um, interpret those aspects and make sure we're playing those relationships on, say, like two crystal bowls,
Oh, wow,
but
that's
with
amazing.
the understanding that like this is Mars and Saturn, or this is
Yeah, right.
just
That's
those.
amazing, the level of
Yeah.
detail you go to. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I'm quite new to sound baths.
Yeah.
I kind of just thought it was just music, like
There's
that was played on a recording. But and I had to the other night I had to kind of open my eyes and go, is this live? Because it sounds too
mm,
perfect to be
yeah.
live. But so
Yeah.
you actually
That
incorporate the transits and
yeah, yeah.
try and play
And
to them.
yes. And ideally, yeah, the color relationships and targeting different parts, different energy centers of the body as well. Um, but in learning, in stepping into like a co-creative space with other performers, um, it's I think it's more important to keep that intuitive flow than
Hmm.
it is to
Then
try and
overanalyze them.
yes. So there's like a
Yeah.
balance between like this is what I want to do and this is how it lines up perfectly and maps to the notes. But really like it's the intention that's going to be felt,
Yeah.
and that can be informed by those grids and yeah, it's I have I have noticed the difference when I've, say, done some toning with particular colors,
Uh-huh.
um, particular chakras, particular correlations, and have had big results. But whether that's because of the tone or whether that's just because of the intention I had,
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever be separate. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's just so
yeah.
fascinating.
But I love geeking out on it. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, where I can see an application for all
yeah,
of this is in chart remediation. So
yes,
if a particular chart or person has, say a weakness in you know, their ninth house, and that
yeah.
ninth house is ruled by a particular planet,
Mm-hmm.
say Venus, you may be able to, yeah, experiment with like, I guess playing those Venusian sounds like as
Mm-hmm.
therapy
Mm-hmm.
to try and boost
Definitely.
that
Yeah.
Venusian. But yeah, that'd be something really interesting to
Bathing in
explore.
them. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
definitely heard of people getting prescribed specific tones, uh, or that correlate to, specific astrological signs.
yeah,
Um,
wow. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah.
Yeah, wow. This is just opening up a whole range of, yeah, ideas
Yeah,
and experiments. Yeah, yeah.
it
I mean,
does.
I
It
can see
does.
that working with maybe children who, may not want to do their mantras or like meditation,
Yeah.
but, by just playing them specific sounds, even while they
Mm,
sleep, that align
yeah.
to
yeah,
certain deficiencies in their chart could kind of help bolster those planets. So yeah,
definitely, yeah,
amazing. Yeah, we'll have to
definitely.
that we'll have to get you on a new project to do that.
Yeah, 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 sure. Love
Awesome.
to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to point everyone to
Mm.
your social media posts because
Hmm.
and that's Miles 216, and I'll have all
Mm.
the links in the description below.
Mm.
But your posts are always the ones that stop me from scrolling. I'm like, because they're beautiful looking, and they're fascinating. And then I try and understand it, and then they just hurt my brain. So
Okay,
I'm going to
yeah,
be a bit indulgent here and
yeah, let's do
get you
it.
to explain some of them. So
I
I'll go and
will, I
share
will.
my screen
Mm.
again.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, go check out Miles's Instagram because
Mm.
it's just full of all this amazing
Mm.
stuff that you've
Mm.
clearly nerded out on.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, this is just your seed of life. So seven interconnected circles. But for me, it holds it's such a central understanding to, um, to music, as like this represents a key, and a key in music is, if you understand the seven notes within a key, that enables you to jam and feel free, um, and
Ah,
those seven notes correspond to the chakras as well,
right. And
or
the
the
seven planets.
seven planets, seven colors of the rainbow.
Yeah, right. So if you
It's
stick to these seven notes, you'll be fine. You're not going to sound too
basically,
dissonant.
yeah, exactly. It's the diatonic scale. It's that Pythagorean scale.
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
and and within it, yeah, you have seven different modes, which is like seven different scales, depending which one you call the center. So that's why
Hmm.
we have six rings or six notes around a tonal center.
Hmm.
So if we were in the key of C, those seven notes would be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, with C in the center.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
if you shifted that tonal center, it would change the whole feeling of the scale and the actual mode of the scale.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love how, um, collectively they combine to make a beautiful flower. So, like, you stay within those
Yes.
seven notes and you get a
Yeah.
flower. Yeah,
Yeah. So
nice.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of like, I guess, a bit of numerology and its connection to its application to music. So the two numbers that sing so loudly for me are, the 12 and the 7 with music. Um,
Okay.
which, if you go into the octave, you have 13 and 8, which are both Fibonacci numbers.
Ah,
Um,
right.
so
So it sounds
they're
harmonious.
yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
it it I think they're just like 12 gives you it's like your understanding of the wheel,
Hmm. Hmm.
of music, and then 7 gives you, the understanding of harmony within that, 12.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, beautiful.
yeah,
All right. Okay, so that was that wheel that you were
yeah.
that we
Or even
just
if you quickly look at this one, um,
oh
I've got
yes. Yeah.
this wheel would probably be more like what I'm explaining, which is, on one layer we have um, the 12 semitones, and on the next layer we have, um, this wheel which is omitting those 5 notes that aren't within the key.
Ah,
So we
right.
actually have the 7 notes within the key here, and
Yeah,
if
right.
and there are 12 different keys, so there's 12 different starting points for that.
Yeah, right. So this would be so handy if you were starting out in, say, jazz improvisation or something, and
Yeah,
what's that key? And turn it and
exactly. Yeah. Because the circle of fifths is something we get taught, quite early on in music, and it's quite an advanced thing to learn. I think what we should learn first is the circle of semitones, because it's just like
Mm-hmm.
the more linear
Yeah.
understanding. We don't have to
And it
stretch our brains so
directly
much.
translates. I mean, I'm
To the
comparing it to
piano.
a piano. You can actually see all the notes in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So if you hold up that thing again, so this is one of
Yeah.
your creations, is
Yeah.
and it's something that you sell to your students and whoever that
Hmm.
might want to purchase them. So
Yeah.
we will put all the links in the description below, but that's certainly a really pretty neat tool, how it all,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I
lines
call it
up.
the wheel of harmony. Um, yeah, and yeah, you just literally change the starting point um, of your
Hmm.
key, and you get an entire another key.
It does all your thinking for you, two pieces of
Exactly, and it's got
cardboard.
all the colors, and it's got all the astrological snuck in there.
Oh, wow,
just in
that's
case you're
amazing.
curious.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. Oh, wow. We'll definitely have to, yeah, get that into all the schools for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Awesome.
all. That's all on my website. Links to those.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. Amazing. Okay. Now this one,
this
this is
one.
another thing that was like hurting my brain.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, this is, yeah, when I was really geeking out about the 369 code and, Tesla, that famous Tesla quote, like if you understand what the importance of the numbers 3, 6, and 9, you'll have a key to the universe, and it was when I was going down some deep rabbit holes, and but then I was looking at um, the degrees of relationship between the notes within a major chord or a minor chord. Um, and um, this one's a little harder to see. Um, but if I explained it like the notes, the 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 aspect between C and E would be a trine. So you would have
Hmm.
120 degrees.
Hmm.
Um, and the aspect between E and G would be 90 degrees,
Hmm.
a square. And then the aspect between G and C would be 150 degrees.
Okay.
This is
Which is
this is
no
not
aspect.
what's written there, but so you have 120, 90, and 150.
Right.
And when you break those angles down to their digital root, which just means if you have 90 degrees, you just go 9 plus 0. You just want one
Hmm.
digit.
Hmm.
Then that's when this 3, 6, and 9 code becomes apparent, um,
Wow.
in the harmony between, yeah, the notes, or yeah, they're like this this invisible web that's holding that harmony in place.
And this is
And
for all major triads.
all major triads, um, this is another way of representing the same thing. Just instead of analyzing the inner angles like what I was talking about, like the astrological angles,
Hmm.
this one is just talking about the yeah, the corners, the interior
Yes.
angles,
Yeah, yeah,
which
right.
is also it's also apparent there.
Yeah, right. Literally
And
at any level, you can
hmm
see these
hmm
codes.
so this is minor. This would be for the minor as well, because it's just a reflection of the same geometry.
Oh, yes,
Um,
right. Yeah.
and yeah, this code is also found. Um, yeah, a big teacher of mine is Jane 108, and a lot of his work is finding these codes within the Fibonacci sequence, and they actually show up there as a Metatron's, not a Metatron, Star of David. What do you call that?
Yeah, the six-pointed
Two,
star,
yeah, two interlocking
triangles.
triangles.
Yep.
So they at those points they have a 3, 6, and 9, and then a
Oh,
3, 6, and
right.
9. Um, But
Amazing.
yeah, it there's just a beauty within those codes, and yeah, there's definitely a connection. Just it's definitely pointing the finger towards, yeah, just a divine harmony.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
Unbelievable. And unbelievable that Nikola Tesla, came up with this. Obviously
Mm,
he was going down rabbit
mm,
holes as well and could
yeah.
come up with these three numbers that he happened to see
Yeah.
everywhere.
And I'm sure that they were signposts that helped him develop that free energy technology and things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so this is, yep, gets to hurt my brain a lot, at this point. I
Yeah.
was never great at maths at school, so
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think yeah, was that it? I think we had, yeah, that were the three things that I thought, oh, that'd be pretty cool to
Mm, hmm, hmm,
look into. Thank you for that. Like that's fascinating stuff. And I encourage you all to head over to Miles's social media links and check out all the other stuff there. I mean, you've got stuff on the Pythagorean 345 triangle as well, and all sorts of other interesting things. So I love how, yes, music is your key language, but you really are so holistic in terms of integrating, shapes, numbers, colors. Yeah, it's really fascinating. So, like knowing that all of this is a language, and when you start learning languages, you start to know that you've started to really embed it in it when you start dreaming in that certain language. But
yes.
so when you do play music, like, do you actually see aspects and colors, or like, is it both, or you're just thinking,
It's
just being in that flow?
It's just flow. Yeah, it's just
Yep.
flow state. But in terms of transferring this information to others, that's when the universal language of like geometry and sound and color, and that's when that becomes so crucial,
Mm.
because yeah, there's so many layers that they can take in the information, and accelerate their learning. Yeah, it's universal. It could be taught on any planet.
Yeah, right. Yes. And
Yeah.
yeah, well, would that be true? Like if you were on Mars, would all these concepts still? Because
I think so. I think when it comes to geometry, yeah, in this particular version of with our particular universal laws, I think
yeah, yeah,
they are all universal.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think teaching music in this way, from what it sounds like, for what you're explaining, it really does come back to an embodied knowledge, embodied in so far as like maybe the proportions of our own body speak the same numbers. Maybe the 369
Exactly.
are within us,
Yeah. Yeah. And
and
it yeah, it the main thing for me is that it, through quite a rational mind, um studying sacred geometry and these concepts really created, um, informed my understanding of, like, yeah, that there is divinity here,
mhm,
and it's everywhere, and every plant and every being is growing according to those um, beautiful codes,
mm,
and striving towards the divine.
mhm, mhm.
And so that, yeah, that informed my spiritual path. And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's so beautiful. That just gave me goosebumps. It's almost like we're almost not at the level of being able to see that yet. Like we're not as evolved to be able to see that. But hopefully, one day we're getting it, especially with schools like yours. So I'm just
Yeah.
curious to know, like, um, how have you shown sort of more conventional music teachers this method, or like some of your ideas, and what do they think of it, or even some of your fellow musicians?
I
What's
think
their feedback?
I
You're
go like, I don't
crazy.
understand it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're like, cool. Like, but yeah, there's a particular type of person that wants to know more, and really understand why is that color? And like, yeah, how, what, some people, yeah, it's all just in the feelings. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care that G is red or something. But for me, it's like, how do we change the curriculum so that it's loaded with invaluable information,
Yeah.
and yeah, and how can we help people learn quicker that might not resonate with the black and white way of
Mm.
traditional education, but they
Yeah.
might be
Yeah.
really right brain inclined, and so that kind of the circular way is like perfect for them. Um,
Yeah. Right.
and helps them feel free. A lot of people can feel restricted even if they can play and read music perfectly. They've never learned how to improvise. They've never
Mm.
learned,
Mm-hmm.
here's your color palette and just paint like whatever you
Mm.
want, and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
sound good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
so it's like trying
Amazing.
to share the freedom that I feel um, in it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I certainly do appreciate that when people can be completely free with their music. That's to me someone that's been trained in a very rudimentary classical way of, scales and, finger exercises,
and
manuscript.
that's, it's so important. Like it's that thing of like, we need to be whole brain cohesive. Like, yeah, we can learn these really regimented things and they're going to be great for our technique, and but
Yeah, but
then
I've never
when we
gone
put it
further.
down,
Yeah, yeah, it's
yeah,
that fear of stepping outside of
balance.
that zone. That fear of stepping outside of a
Yeah,
composition that you've learned.
yeah. And
Yeah.
all you need is a key C.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if you just get people to jam in the key C and you'll be sweet. And then
Yeah.
like, then maybe venture out a little bit, chuck in a couple of black
Yeah,
notes or
yeah,
blues
maybe the
notes.
key of G.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Stick to the G's and C's.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. And so do you find maybe children are more open to this way of learning? Like, do you teach adults as well?
Definitely.
Mm,
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, like, because it's multimodal. Like sometimes I just get my kids to draw a seed of life, like, and then I get them to draw it with the seven colors, and then I tell them these are these seven notes, and they're taking it in so many different ways, and it's connecting to a really central. I think geometry is the and symbols are the quickest way of learning anything.
yeah,
And
right.
I really think it like hits a remembrance button, and
Yeah, right.
helps us to those, yeah, things that we might or have already learnt come online. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
totally. Yeah, I guess I see the benefit of this is even though it can feel a little bit of abstract, like these concepts to when you're actually playing, but it's knowing that there is an alignment is such an important thing for me. Like just knowing that, oh, these
Yes.
tunes, these intentions, these chords are aligning to the
Yes.
transits, or that
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
that there is an alignment of
Yeah.
yeah, this particular sound to this particular color, and and
Yeah.
like you said, it's bridge building. That this is
Yes.
that whole idea of
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter what
And
language you speak.
no,
It's
no.
all the one language ultimately with
Yeah.
bridges.
Yeah. Exactly. And like, um, yeah, like we've just come through the equinox, where there's 12 hours a day, 12 hours of night. And in, yeah, in number terms, that
Yeah.
would be 432 seconds of day and 432 seconds of night. So we played all of those sounds that we did on Monday
Monday. Yeah.
in 432 hertz,
Oh,
because it's
wow.
a harmonic
Yeah,
alignment to
resonance. Yeah.
that particular moment in time where, yeah, all the
Yeah,
temples
right.
were aligned to as well.
Well, it's interesting. After that journey that we went through, you mentioned like, oh, it would have been great if I had talked a bit about the astrology of the night and things like that. But likewise, I thought it would have been great if you had have explained this, or I would have like
Yeah,
completely gone
yeah,
deeper into that had I have known that
definitely.
there was all this alignment happening, like
Yes,
just to be made
yeah.
aware. Yeah, it's really
Um,
opened up my eyes to the potential of,
mm,
subtle
mhm,
healing through
mhm,
music and other
mhm.
forms. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to, yeah, it's that thing of the micro and the macro, and try, yeah, within our little micro systems of our little communal sound baths, reflecting what's going on out there as well, to use
Hmm.
those forces. Um,
Sure. I
um,
will definitely pay more attention next time.
I don't. I think the whole point is to be totally embodied in those states, and to not be anywhere in the mind. So yeah, it's good to have
Yeah.
someone else doing the mind thing.
Yeah.
I do find it helpful sometimes when, yeah, sound healers explain, yeah, that what's happening astrologically, just to give you some context to like what the time is.
Yeah. I think
But
it's
that's
also
not
giving you
my.
that appreciation of
Yeah.
it, I think. It's more
Yes.
the appreciation, like,
Okay. Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
people have really thought about this. And
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
like lying here doing
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's.
So,
I think. Yeah. It's a dream of mine to. Yeah. Have an immersive workshop or performance where. Yeah. There. All of those alignments are is the whole point of Um,
yeah.
the performance, and whenever when any note is played, the color is
Yeah.
seen,
The
and
visual projections
yeah, yeah,
oh, wow.
and the
Yeah. Do,
dancing, archetypal dancing,
yeah.
embodying the planetary influences like that.
Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
I want to go there with it. I think that's a great way of relate, and I think yeah, it's it feels more an artistic way of expressing all of these
Yeah. Very
correlations,
dry
instead
topics.
of
Yeah.
yeah, just going into the workshop and being like, get out your pen and paper, let's
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, dream big.
study.
I can envision
Thanks.
big festivals like
Yeah, yeah,
run like this, visual projections, music, like
yeah,
the
yeah.
archetypal stories, the
Hmm.
artwork. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Hmm.
I'm coming. Book
Yeah,
me in.
amazing. Yeah, we need you to help, because we need to know what's going on
Yeah.
and what it means. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's amazing, Miles. Thank you so much. This has been such a
Thanks for having
fascinating
me, Shu.
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been
It's
such a joy.
I just can't wait for the world to see what you do. And so, what's the best way to get in touch with you if
Hmm.
people are interested in exploring this? Or obviously,
Hmm.
do you teach online or is it all in person? Or
Yeah, yeah, I teach online. Yeah, probably through miles.216. That's the best way to get in touch. Just social medias.
okay,
Um, or through my website if they're curious about some of the products that I have.
yep,
But yeah, yeah, I teach online. I teach in person. If you're based around Melbourne, Daylesford.
yep, okay.
Um,
Oh, so you'll teach in Melbourne as well.
yeah, yep,
Okay, awesome.
yeah.
All right, well, I'll put all the links in the description below. And have you got anything going on, any gigs or anything like that that you want to share, or are you just focusing on your
Um,
teaching?
I'm playing pretty regularly on the weekends now at Enki in
Oh,
Daylesford, which
yes,
is like
that's right.
a
Yes, you'll have
distillery.
to. Yeah,
Yeah,
Enki
yeah,
is an amazing alchemical apothecary. Yes, and I've definitely been there for one of your
stunning,
gigs. Yeah.
stunning. Yeah. So I'm
So
playing regularly there for now, and yeah, if they follow me, they'll see what's coming.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. And
Thank
I
you,
hope you
Shu.
continue to do more sound baths for us.
We will
Um,
do.
and so if you have liked the show and you'd like to support us, be sure to like and subscribe. My name is Shu and I'm from Interpsycle Astrology, and we hope to see you at the next episode. Bye.
Thanks, Shu.